Alex's reply on Facebook Messenger was instantaneous, as if she could smell the gossip through the screen. Oh, what about him? For a second, Jordan Liu almost typed it all out, that some girl was all over Cole, that they looked like a couple. But a sudden chill stopped her. She deleted the message. She'd already failed to get Jasmine's contact info, and this felt like an opportunity to get on her good side. She was sure Jasmine would be interested in this little tidbit, but saying it outright could make both Cole and his sister see her as a petty gossip. It wasn't worth the risk. She was far more interested in doing business with Headline today. Losing that opportunity over something so small would be stupid. She changed her tune. They were having a door mixer at my barbecue joint. We just chatted for a bit. She figured it was enough to make herself seem familiar, to imply they were getting close. Alex's reply was breezy. Oh, a mixer? That's normal. Reading that, Jordan breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed Alex didn't care much, which meant Jordan had avoided looking like a fool for no reason. In the Eastwood Tech Dance studio, the team was on a break. Jasmine took the empty floor to practice a new routine. Alex had just typed "that's normal" to Jordan, but in the next breath, she called out, "Jasmine, your little brother's at a door mixer. Aren't you worried some girl is going to snatch him up?" The music screeched to a halt. Jasmine's voice was calm. "It's just a mixer. You've been to them. Did you get snatched up?" "Hey, I'm not him. The guy's a human magnet, and he only attracts women," Alex retorted, giving Jasmine a look that screamed, "You know what I mean." "Oh, did he attract you?" Jasmine's eyes narrowed, 100 tiny daggers glinting in their depths. "Get out of here. You're the one who's attracted to him." Alex yelped, jumping as if her tail had been stepped on. "Look at you, so defensive. If he didn't attract you, what are you so afraid of?" A small, sly smile played on Jasmine's lips. "Seriously? I'm trying to tell you about the mixer, and you turn it on me." "Fine, I won't tell you anything next time," Alex grumbled, slumping against the wall and sliding to the floor. "Don't listen to that wannabe dude," Jasmine said, her tone softening. "She doesn't have your best interests at heart, you know?" "I know, don't worry." Feeling the warmth of her friend's concern, Alex relaxed. Then she went back on the offensive. "And what's with you practicing such a scandalous dance? If a guy saw this, he'd get a nosebleed." A blush crept up Jasmine's neck. "It's because that idiot insisted on seeing it," she thought. "What choice do I have?" But she put on a brave face. "Just trying something new. It's not like anyone else will see it." "Huh, like I'd ever believe you. You're 100% doing this for him." The brother-obsessed sister has finally lost it. Alex was floored by the routine. The usually reserved Jasmine was moving in ways. Well, it was basically a seduction, a sensual, provocative choreography from some European music video. "Believe what you want," Jasmine shot back, refusing to admit a thing. "I don't believe it. You can kill me, but I won't believe it. This dance is meant to be done either barefoot or in a short skirt with sheer black stockings and heels. If you dare perform this for him, I'll bet you $5 he turns into a werewolf on the spot and eats you alive." The image of the composed Jasmine showing that side of herself to Cole was enough to make Alex think the world had gone mad. "You'd better stop, or I'm not talking to you again." Jasmine glared at her friend, but her face was burning. It was one thing to do it, but to talk about it was mortifying. Of course, she was going to dance it for that idiot, and she was only going to let him sit and watch. To torture him, to build his character. The thought made her burn with a strange fire. Then another thought surfaced. A mixer? Did he mix? In the dim light of the movie theater, Cole and Luna were watching Inception. Seeing it again, after all these years, felt both fresh and familiar. He glanced at Luna, who was completely captivated. It was hard to believe, but this was the first time the girl next to him had ever seen a movie on a big screen. A pang of sympathy hit him. He didn't have the heart to disturb her, just quietly discuss the plot with her when she had questions, not wanting to spoil her sense of wonder. When they left the theater, Luna was still lost in the world of dreams within dreams. Cole took her small hand and led her around some of the well-known scenic spots near the lake, letting her happiness build. Whenever they were in a crowd, Luna would dive into Cole's arms like a startled rabbit finding its burrow. Cole, the sly fox, would take the opportunity to hold her tight, pretending to be her stalwart protector while enjoying the firm press of her body against his. Feeling the subtle change in his posture, Luna would freeze, her face flushing, a mix of nervousness and a secret, fluttering satisfaction filling her heart. As evening fell, Cole took her for hot pot, just as he'd promised. Afterward, they took a walk to let the food settle before he walked a reluctant Luna back to her dorm. On his way back to his own dorm, Cole returned Jordan Liu's call. "Hey, Jordan. Sorry, I was away from my phone." "What's up?" "Cole, my man. How about you come by my lounge tomorrow? I want to talk business." "Sounds good. What time?" "Text me the address." Hanging up, a smile touched Cole's lips. The first ad campaign was about to land. If this worked out, he'd have to thank Alex. His phone rang again. It was Jasmine. He answered immediately. Hey, sis. Hey, were you busy today? An alarm bell went off in Cole's head. This was a loaded question. Jasmine never asked that. Oh, I get it. Jordan the tomboy must have told Alex. He launched a preemptive strike. Not really busy, sis. I went to a dorm mixer. 6 dorms, tons of people. Halfway through, I ran into that Jordan Lou woman who said she owned the place. We ended up talking about Headline today, and she just called me a minute ago to set up a meeting at her lounge tomorrow to talk about advertising. Cole laid it all out. He knew Jasmine. Presented with the full, unvarnished truth, she wouldn't press him. Okay, I get it, she said. Just don't drink when you go. Don't want you messing things up. Why don't you come with me, sis? Okay. That single, softly spoken okay was filled with a quiet, undeniable pleasure. Cole let out a breath. He was off the hook. He planned to bring her anyway. It was good for her to be involved, to understand how the whole company operated. On the walk back, he chatted for a bit with his campus belle, Serena, listening to her whine playfully about how hard law school was. He had to admit, it sounded brutal. The next day, he did something remarkable. He went to his Ada M class and actually stayed for the entire morning. He was definitely behind on his coursework. Some of it was like a foreign language. But luckily, some of the basic classes were required for both finance and law, which meant he could just get some one-on-one tutoring at night to catch up. At 2 in the afternoon, Cole was standing at the gates of Eastwood Tech right on time. As usual, he waited for about 20 minutes. And then she appeared. Cole's eyes lit up. They weren't just bright, they were blazing. Today, Jasmine was wearing a long, light blue V-neck sweater dress, layered under a khaki trench coat. Her chest, while not as full as Luna's, was still ample, a fact he had confirmed with his own eyes. The dress perfectly highlighted her flat stomach and long, slender legs. She'd done something different with her hair, too, curling the ends inward. But the thing that made Cole's heart hammer against his ribs was what she was wearing on her legs. Sheer black stockings. One of his weaknesses. His kryptonite. Black stockings. This was the first time Jasmine had ever worn them. Even though only a few inches of her calves were visible, Cole's overactive imagination instantly conjured up the high-definition, full-body version. An internal roar erupted in his mind. Sis, why would you wear these? Do you know how dangerous this is? I'm not sure I can wait until your brain is fully developed. As this stunning, sophisticated ice queen walked by, she instantly captured the gaze of every male within a 50-yard radius. The girls gritted their teeth in envy. The guy's eyes were practically glued to her. Oh my God, the dragon fairy is wearing black stockings. This is breaking news. When Jasmine reached him, she shot him a machinoid glare, 2 rosy blossoms blooming on her cheeks. What are you looking at? It was her first time ever wearing them, and she was oblivious to everyone else's stares. But with Cole, she was hyper-aware. She felt both shy and a little afraid he'd think she was being frivolous. But the look in his eyes, that rapt, mesmerized stare, reassured her, filling her with a swell of pride. That's right, you little punk. I'll drive you crazy, but all you can do is look. This is what you get for going to a mixer. What was so great about it, anyway? You look beautiful, sis, Cole said, his voice full of genuine awe. Oomph. You're just now realizing that? She replied haughtily, tossing her bag at him. Carry this. You got it. Cole slung the bag over his shoulder and in one smooth motion wrapped his arm around her slim waist, giving it a little squeeze. Are you trying to get killed? We're surrounded by people. Jasmine lightly slapped his arm. She glanced around and, as expected, saw the eyes of numerous students on them. Cole just grinned, refusing to let go. His hand held her waist, a perfect, unbeatable feeling. Your hand, Jasmine hissed, pinching a bit of skin on his side and twisting hard. Ow! Cole winced, pulling his hand back, but immediately crooking his elbow. Just as he'd predicted, his sister hooked her arm through his, a satisfied look on her face. It was her favorite way to walk with him. The lounge wasn't far. They walked along North Lake for about 10 minutes and arrived at a 2-story building called the Orchid Lounge. The decor was chic and modern with an Asian fusion twist. With no customers yet, the lights were off. A waiter cleaning up asked, Are you Mr. Chut? I am. The owner is inside. The waiter gestured toward the back of the bar. Thanks. Inside was a small meeting room where Jordan Lou was already standing to greet them. Her eyes lit up when she saw Jasmine. The tea's just brewed. Please have a seat. The room had plush, black leather sofas. Cole sank into one, and Jasmine sat down next to him. He looked around and offered a compliment. Nice place. It's pretty big, too. You really went all out, Jordan. Now, what good is a nice place if business is bad? Jordan sighed heavily. Do you have live music? We do. Starts at 9:30. The location is good, but it's a shame no one knows about it. I've been a student here this long, and I've never even heard of it. A lounge bar could do great business, but it relied on atmosphere and a certain vibe. A place to listen to music, sip a drink, and talk. If you couldn't get the word out, you were dead in the water. It wasn't like a loud nightclub that appealed to the masses. Cole, just tell me what to do. I'm not an expert on this stuff, Jordan said, leaning forward, ready to listen. If she'd had long hair, the gesture might have looked more graceful. But with her short, masculine haircut, it just looked odd. 2 options, Cole began. 1, I could put your bar in front of 1,000 people at a time, and you pay for every 1,000 views. Or 2, I can show your bar to all our users, but you only pay when someone actually clicks on the ad. Views alone are free. He explained the 2 models, CPM and CPC, in more detail. For a niche business like a bar, CPC, cost per click, was the obvious choice. The exposure was free, and only genuinely interested people would click through to see pictures and read the promotional copy. Jordan understood, but she had a question. How do I know how many times it's been shown or how many times it's been clicked? You'll get access to a private client dashboard. You can track all the data in the back end, set keywords. It's super simple. You'll get it as soon as you see it. The Tea Alchemist uses a similar click-based model. Which one do you think is right for me? A lounge bar and a tea shop are both storefronts, but a lounge needs to filter its customers more carefully. That makes the click-based model even better for you. Only interested people will click, turning them into potential customers, who then convert into actual patrons. And for a lounge, we can use another method, embedding ads in our popular short stories. We can brand this place with a certain vibe, make an iconic spot people feel a connection to a place they have to visit. Cole spoke smoothly, watching Jordan's expressions. Beside him, Jasmine listened intently. This was part of her job now. She didn't have to do it, but she had to know it. Every so often, she would turn to look at her brother, her eyes shining with a pride that seemed to say, he's finally all grown up. An iconic spot? Jordan's eyes darted back and forth, only half understanding. Exactly, like the influencers on Headline today with huge followings. They have visibility and influence, and people flock to them. From Jordan's micro-expressions, Cole could tell she was already running the numbers. He was sure she'd have a decision soon. In the future, who knew? But right now, the only effective way to advertise on campus was Headline today. If she were trying to promote a wild nightclub, he wouldn't have touched it. The university deans would have been at his door. But a classy lounge was respectable, something he could promote openly. After a long silence, Jordan slapped her thigh. All right, Cole, my man, I'm in. You won't regret it, Jordan. Cole smiled and extended his hand. The hand of a nearly 19-year-old man clasped the hand of a 22-year-old tomboy. She was the first to pull away. Deal. Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, I'll be at your office. See you at 10 then. Jordan thought about shaking Jasmine's hand, but seeing her politely distant expression, she decided against it. After leaving the lounge, they were walking along a greenway. Seeing no one around, Cole couldn't resist. He sidled up to his black-stockinged sister with a mischievous plan. Sis, you must be tired. Why don't we go back to our place and rest for a bit? Not a chance. Jasmine's arm was still looped gently through his, but her tone was firm. She bought the stockings and a matching super short skirt, specifically to grant a certain someone's wish one day. She'd worn them today just to see his reaction, and the result was more than satisfying. Never one to give up, Cole leaned in close to her ear and whispered, well then, can I? You know, just a little. What are you trying to do? Jasmine shot him a mortified glare, pinching the arm he had offered her. You're always thinking about weird things. Ow, you pinch me again. That hurts. Cole winced. His sister was giving him no slack at all. Not after they had just kissed. Wearing those tempting stockings, but not giving him anything. What was up with that? Clearly, he hadn't kissed her enough. He reached out and cupped her face. The moment his hands touched her cheeks, Jasmine knew what the idiot was about to do. 100 yards away, people were walking toward them. Her face turned crimson as she pounded on his chest. You're insane. There are people here. But Cole's mouth had already covered hers. MMPH. MMPH. This time, no amount of pinching worked. Cole's left hand supported the back of her neck while his right rested on the small of her back, launching a gentle but firm invasion of her fragrant lips. The woman in his arms struggled feebly for a few moments before her body went soft, all resistance gone. And Cole, the plunderer, was met with a response, still clumsy, but trying its best to welcome him. A long, deep kiss. After a long moment, Jasmine managed to break free, burying her burning face in his shoulder. She knew this idiot would demand it. An old woman and an old man walked by, their eyes fixed on the two young people. Cole, utterly shameless, grinned at them, which made the elderly couple chuckle in response. Once they were gone, Jasmine hissed, her voice full of resentment. You do this right on the side of the path. It's so embarrassing. I want more, sis, Cole whined, shamelessly begging for another kiss. Jasmine pressed her cheek against his, desperately keeping his mouth at bay. I'm begging you. Sis is begging you. Can we do this next time when no one's around? This is really awkward. Okay, fine. But next time, I want to see the short skirt and the black stockings, Cole said, seizing the opportunity to lay out his terms. You. Jasmine, mortified, bit down on his shoulder, but the thick coat got in the way. She pushed it aside and bit his chest instead. Not the chest. That really hurts. Cole yelped. Now you know how much it hurt when you bit me, she said, her cheeks still flushed with a hint of indignation. She gave him another light bite before letting go, her voice laced with a lingering sense of grievance. Back then, she'd been willing to endure anything just to coax him to sleep. Cole felt a mix of awkwardness and a pang of sympathy. He remembered all. He'd broken the skin, and it had hurt her for days. Overcome with emotion, he pulled her into a tight hug. They stayed like that for a while, until Jasmine's tense voice broke the silence. Someone else is coming. We should go. Okay, but what about what I said? Cole whispered pitifully into her ear. His only answer was a series of sharp pinches and a few light smacks. All you think about is dirty stuff. Hearing that, Cole grinned to himself. That's a yes. They released their embrace and walked arm in arm back toward Eastwood Tech. As they reached the gate, Jasmine turned and watched her brother's retreating figure, a triumphant smile spreading across her face. Judging by the ravenous look in his eyes today, she was certain that if she really wore the short skirt and black stockings, he would go absolutely insane. I'll torture you to death then, you little punk. I'll only let you sit and watch. That'll be your punishment. We'll see if you go to any more mixers after that. Back at Eastwood University, Cole immediately started drafting the contract, knowing he'd probably have to work late. He found a standard advertising template online and modified it to fit their needs. He was so focused that he worked straight through until after 8 p.m., forgetting to even eat dinner. Meanwhile, the marketing and promotions departments were brainstorming ad copy for the lounge. They were just waiting for the contract to be signed before heading to the site for a photo shoot. The next morning at 10, with no unexpected hitches, Jordan Liu appeared on the 15th floor of the Venture Lab. Cole gave her a tour of the Headline Today offices. Though it was only 2 rooms, Jordan was impressed. It was notoriously difficult for freshmen to secure office space in the Venture Lab. She had no idea what strings Cole had pulled. They finally sat down in the small conference room. You can prepay for the ad credit, Cole explained, his eyes shining with sincerity. Deposit as much as you want, starting at $500. But if you really want to make an impression, I'd suggest putting in more. Besides the Tea Alchemist, you're our first official client. Headline Today is going to put its full weight behind this push. Tens of thousands of university students will see the ad for your lounge. You can imagine how many will click to learn more. The advertiser dashboard had already been designed by Wyatt. For a programmer like him, it was child's play. 10 cents a click? So, $6,000 would be 60,000 clicks, Jordan calculated. Exactly. Done. I'll deposit $6,000. Last night, Jordan had been scrolling through Headline Today, getting a deeper sense of its popularity. The user base was active, with students from every college and department. It solidified her confidence. Don't you want to try the embedded short story ad? Cole pressed. It's perfect for a lounge. It'll really elevate the brand's image. How much? $1,500. I guarantee 3 placements at the story's dramatic climaxes. It will leave a lasting impression on our readers, Cole said, holding up one finger, his voice brimming with confidence. Jordan hesitated for only a moment before nodding decisively. She'd read that the cat who fell for the dog story and nearly had an aneurysm, but she'd become a fan nonetheless. She was already in for $6,000. What was another $1,500 to test the waters? According to Cole, if the ad credit wasn't used up, it was refundable. And if it was, that meant she'd gotten 60,000 clicks. If even a fraction of those converted to customers, it would be a massive win because those customers would create their own word-of-mouth buzz. She'd only pay for the ad once, but the effects could last a long time. She wasn't planning on advertising her barbecue place yet. First, she'd see how the lounge performed. If it was a success, she could just promote the barbecue from within the lounge itself. As a seasoned business owner, Jordan had her own shrewd calculations. She reviewed the contract terms carefully. After confirming everything was in order, they both signed and sealed the deal. She transferred the funds on the spot. One paid gladly, the other received happily. It was a successful signing. Jordan, my team will be at the lounge this afternoon for a photo shoot. I'll need you to give him a heads up. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Cole personally walked Jordan downstairs. Back in the office, he went straight to the editorial department. Fiona, he said, approaching her desk. I have a new mission for you. Fiona looked up with a pained expression. Boss, it's so hard. I have to rework the entire outline for the second half. Cole knew exactly what she was doing. You get a 30% commission. And in the future, if a client messages you directly to request product placement, you'll get 70%. Yay. Yay. Thank you, Mr. Chun. You're the best, Mr. Chun. Fiona jumped up ecstatic. That was an easy $450. All she had to do was tweak a few scenes to incorporate the lounge. It was practically effortless. The others looked on with envy, but Cole knew this kind of story integration wasn't scalable. As more people started writing, the user base would fragment, and the impact of text just couldn't compare to video. This was just a one-off deal. He then checked with the advertising and planning departments. When he learned none of them had ever actually been to a lounge, he waved a magnanimous hand and declared a team field trip. That afternoon, Cole and his team appeared at the Orchid Lounge. With no customers around, it was the perfect time for them to scout and shoot. The boss ordered a round of low-alcohol cocktails and some snacks for everyone. Jordan had already told the staff to put on the house, but Cole politely declined the offer. The 5 members of the 2 departments looked around with hopeful eyes, taking in everything: the decor, the stage where the singer performed, the bar. This was their first time seeing what a lounge was really like. Mr. Chun, is a lounge really that different from a nightclub? Whitney Yuan asked curiously. Many students had never been to a bar, either because they disliked the noisy atmosphere or were afraid of trouble. Let's put it this way, Cole said with a smile. A nightclub is about forgetting, while a lounge is about remembering. He continued, let me give you an example. Let's say you just got your heart broken. Mr. Chun, I've never even been in a relationship. I'm very hurt by this example. Whitney interjected, feigning sadness. The others snickered. Oh, haha. Let me rephrase, Cole said, a little flustered. Okay, let's say someone gets their heart broken. The DJ and the dancing at a nightclub will help them forget. The immersive atmosphere and the singer's soulful ballads at a lounge will make them dwell on the past. Whitney looked puzzled. Then obviously forgetting is better. Certainly, the heart-pounding beat of a nightclub makes it easy to forget, but that forgetting is temporary. The next morning, the pain is even worse. Then you want to go back, and you get addicted, but your wallet can't keep up. You go too often, you get lost in it, and you're more likely to run into trouble. Cole smiled again. A lounge is quieter. It makes you confront your memories more deeply, which is more painful in the moment, but it also makes it easier to find your true self and move on faster. But I feel like nightclubs are better at creating happiness, Whitney countered, still not fully convinced. Not entirely. A lounge has its own unique advantages. The breakup was just an example. Advantages? Yes. A lot of people, especially students, would love the feeling of a lounge. It's quiet, relaxing, stylish, chic, elegant. These are its strengths. Listening to music, having a heart-to-heart, just zoning out. Have you ever noticed how much people love to just zone out? Cole asked with a grin. The others looked thoughtful. It was true. They loved to just space out, empty their minds. Whitney had another question. But you can zone out anywhere. Why do it at a lounge? The others wanted to know, too. It's fundamentally different, Cole said, wagging a finger. A lounge has a few extra things. Things Whitney couldn't guess. A drink, some soft music, and most importantly, the 2 words, lounge bar. Cole gave them a mysterious smile. 2 words. Whitney was completely lost. Just spit it out, boss. When you're in a lounge, holding a drink, bathed in dim light, with soft music in your ears, that's when zoning out becomes a transcendent experience, a moment for spiritual contemplation. The words lounge bar are like a hypnotic command. Walking into one is like triggering that command, entering a state of hypnosis where you can enjoy the ultimate relaxation. Cole half closed his eyes, as if picturing the scene he was describing. I get it, Mr. Chun. Whitney's eyes lit up with excitement. You mean like squatting in a corner to eat noodles? Or playing games in an internet cafe? Or reading a novel on the toilet? Cole had been nodding in approval, but at the last part, he almost spit out the cocktail he'd just sipped. The rest of the team burst out laughing. Whitney, Cole thought with a silent groan, can't you just let me be cool for 1 minute? You have no respect for your boss's image, do you? But he couldn't deny it. What she said was true. He had to concede. Yes, exactly. Zoning out anywhere else is just zoning out. But zoning out in a lounge is immersion. And it's not just for zoning out. Its elegant yet stylish environment is also perfect for friends to hang out, for couples on dates. And if you're lucky, you might even meet a kindred spirit you can really connect with. That last line was the core of the ad campaign he wanted. He felt a little smug, ready to break it down for them. I've got it. Mr. Chun, you want to brand the lounge with the encounter tag. Whitney's eyes were wide with realization. Brilliant. Cole, who had just been talking about elegance, had to give her a rather unelegant compliment. A thumbs up. Damn it. I can't even be cool for a second. He tried to salvage the moment. Whether you're single or fresh off a breakup, everyone yearns to meet someone who truly gets them. So we need to create that illusion. I mean, that guidance. But what if they never meet anyone? Won't they think we're lying? Whitney asked, a little worried, but the glint in her eyes clearly said, so, how do we lie effectively? What? Are we running a dating service? If they don't meet anyone, it just means fate hasn't aligned yet. So they should just come back more often, Cole said, rolling his eyes at his manager. She already gets it, but she's still making the boss say the quiet part out loud. This subordinate is something else. Mr. Chin, you're a genius. Whitney copied her boss, giving him an enthusiastic thumbs up. Cole chuckled internally. Why did being praised by her feel so unsatisfying? She was too smart. He'd have to make her work her tail off. He decided to get some petty revenge. So, the dance competition is getting close. Is everything ready? All set. Just waiting for the day to arrive, Whitney said with a confident nod, completely oblivious to her boss's scheming. She even added, so, the lounge is basically for everyone, right, Mr. Chun? Cole was at a loss. She was too competent to argue with. An idea struck him, another chance to be cool. He shook his finger stylishly. No. There's one type of person it's not for. This type doesn't go to nightclubs, and they won't come to a lounge. They're immune. What type, Mr. Chun? Whitney's interest was piqued. The others looked over as well. A simp, the boss said with a mysterious smile. A simp? What's that? Whitney's brain short-circuited. She'd heard of poodles and hyenas, but never simp. A simp isn't a dog. It's a person. They are forever on the journey of simping. They have no other desires. You'll see them if you just watch. You'll know. Cole was so ruthless, he was even dissing his former self. At that moment, the male employee in the advertising department suddenly stiffened. A bitter smile crossed his face as he said, You don't have to watch. Just look at me. Everyone, including the bartender and waiter, turned to look at him. Their curious glances shifted to pity. So that was what a simp was. They knew he had a girlfriend, but the two rarely seemed to see each other. All he did was talk about her. His entire paycheck vanished the moment he got it, but none of it was sent home. Cole walked over with a grave expression and clapped the guy on the shoulder. It's okay. As long as you've scored, it's not a total loss. You got this. The women on the team didn't get it at first. A few seconds later, it dawned on them. Whitney blushed and shot her boss a light, disapproving glare. All right. Let's finish our drinks and get to work, Cole said, laughing heartily. The team got busy, scouting locations and taking photos. After a while, Whitney came over. Mr. Chun, we need to find a really pretty model, preferably one who can act with her eyes. Sure. Contact Fiona. She had files on all the campus belles. Hiring a model was already part of Cole's plan. At the Eastwood Tech School of Arts, Amy was excitedly changing into her prettiest clothes, doing her makeup and fixing her hair. She couldn't believe that Headline Today wanted her for an ad, a solo ad, not like the last time with a dozen other girls. This meant she'd been chosen. She was the best. Plus, she was getting paid 1,000 yuan, about $150, as soon as the shoot was over. How could she not be ecstatic? Her roommates watched with envy. An ad for Headline Today. Their roommate was about to get even more famous. When Amy followed the address to the Orchid Lounge and saw that Cole was there, her eyes lit up. Not caring that he was just a freshman, she hurried over and extended a delicate hand. Hello, Mr. Chun. Hello, Amy. Thanks for coming, Cole said with a smile, shaking her hand. The girl in front of him was quite pretty, about 5'5", with a good figure. She wore her hair in pigtails, giving off a very sweet and innocent vibe. But Cole was a man of the world. He knew that pigtails didn't necessarily mean innocence. It was just branding for the occasion. Amy's eyes flickered. She thought this freshman was quite handsome, with a captivating, mature charm. She felt a sudden, intense urge to playfully scratch his palm. On Headline Today, Amy's follower count had soared past 90,000 and was closing in on the six-figure mark. She was constantly being recognized on the street with a chorus of, Hi, Amy. It gave her an immense sense of satisfaction. The money she earned from post views was modest, but the intangible prestige was a golden ticket. Even the Arts College was scrambling to feature her in their events. If Headline Today went national, as one of its earliest influencers, she was sure she could ride that wave to success. Amy instantly cooled her head. If she wanted to set sail for bigger things, she couldn't engage in short-sighted flirtations. She naturally released his hand and went with Whitney to discuss the shoot. They worked until 5 o'clock. The advertising department's copy went through 2 days of polishing, rejected twice by Cole before the final version was approved. The client, Jordan Liu, saw a draft and was extremely pleased. That evening, the ad for the Orchid Lounge went live. Every student who opened Headline Today saw a large banner on the homepage. The headline read, "I'm waiting for you at the Orchid." The picture was a stunning shot of Amy, sitting in a wrought-tan chair by the window, a cocktail held loosely in her hand. Her face was sweet, her demeanor serene, her gaze fixed on something outside the window, distant and thoughtful. The headline was simple, so direct it was almost saying, "Hey you, come on in." Leo Yao was a junior in the optoelectronics department at Eastwood Tech. His family was well off, and he occasionally hit the nightclubs. Lately, he'd become addicted to scrolling through Headline Today. When a recommended post popped up, he was immediately captivated by the girl in the photo. It wasn't that he hadn't seen beautiful girls before, but there was something incredibly magnetic about her eyes. He couldn't help but wonder, what was she looking at? What was she thinking about? And where was the orchid? He couldn't resist. He clicked. It was a video. The story unfolded from the girl's perspective. It spoke of her loneliness, her melancholy, her hopes, her anticipation. She loved to just zone out, and whenever she felt the urge, she went to the Orchid Lounge. A drink, a small snack, a book, she would sit quietly, surrounded by soothing, soft music. The video showed her with different expressions, happy, sad, playful. The girl narrated her feelings about the orchid, her belief that her true love would one day appear right before her. Below the video was a brief introduction to the lounge, along with drink specials. Oh, so it's a lounge bar, Leo realized. It was a type of place he wasn't usually interested in. He found them a bit dull. The girls at nightclubs were wild and easy to have fun with. But for some reason, at this moment, he felt those girls were lacking something. His mind, so used to being stuffed with the deafening roar of a DJ, suddenly felt hollow. The ad went viral. The click count hit over 100,000 on the first day. Some people knew Amy, some didn't, but almost everyone was drawn in by her face and her eyes. After watching the full ad, they sighed with a shared sentiment. So, even a goddess can be this lonely? Everyone knew it was an ad, but they loved the vibe. And crucially, Amy kept saying she would sit there for hours with just one drink. Did that mean the owner wouldn't mind if you only ordered one thing? A drink was only a few bucks. Who couldn't afford that? That night, all 4 locations of the Orchid Lounge were packed, turning a cold winter night fiery hot. Students who had hoped to occupy a single table to project an air of leisurely sophistication had their plans foiled. But they weren't disappointed. The place was full of guys and girls, like a massive musical mixer. Thankfully, Cole had warned her, and Jordan had prepared the atmosphere perfectly. The lighting, the music, the discounted drinks and snacks. They even added outdoor seating. The house singer, originally scheduled for 9:30, started an hour early. Furthermore, Jordan paid Amy to make an appearance at each lounge for 10 minutes, greeting the students and giving the "I'm waiting for you" at the Orchid campaign a heartfelt conclusion. The 4 lounges saw their revenue explode, but more importantly, they had made a name for themselves. Amy earned an extra appearance fee and gained a ton of new followers, grinning from ear to ear. The next day, the Orchid opened early to accommodate the students who wanted to sit alone, read a book, and look cool. Everything was going smoothly. In room 1520 of the Venture Lab. "Mr. Chun, I feel like this ad is a bit weird," Fiona said, not quite voicing her suspicion. "It's kind of like a dating service." Cole replied, without even looking up from the ad click data. Yes, that's exactly the vibe," Fiona said, looking as if she'd found a kindred spirit, while thinking, "You said it, not me. That's basically what it is. A romantic music lounge mixer." "Huh," Cole admitted casually. It was the same principle as the dating apps of the future. "I'm waiting for you on Tinder. I'm waiting for you on OkCupid." Fiona raised an eyebrow. So it was just a straightforward pickup joint. Mr. Chin was a genius. A few guys from the engineering department had actually gone to the Orchid last night. Not to meet anyone, they claimed, just to relax. They wouldn't dare go to a nightclub, but a lounge that the boss himself had vetted felt safe. The atmosphere, they reported, was indeed excellent. The entire office was in awe of their boss. Aside from not knowing how to code, he seemed to be an expert at everything. They had no idea how a freshman could be so mature. After Fiona's serialized novel incorporated a scene set in the lounge, the Orchid became even more popular. Jordan called several times to thank Cole, even offering to introduce him to new clients. But Cole's mind was no longer on the Orchid. The dance competition was tonight. At 4 in the afternoon, 3 people were left to hold down the fort at the office, while everyone else, including the promotions department, went to help out. Whitney had been at the university gym all day. The stage and lighting were ready. Each university had an allotment of 500 audience tickets. Cole had even asked a few of the campus belles to help escort the university leaders and judges to their seats. The student union provided makeup artists and prop masters. All Cole had to do was pay them. All the dance teams had already arrived. Alex and her team were backstage, running through their routine one last time. Jasmine was there helping, and even Luna and Brianna were with them. Cole had given Luna 2 tickets, but she hadn't gone to her seat. Jasmine had messaged her on Facebook, asking her to help out backstage. Cole knew about it and wasn't worried. He knew both girls well enough to know they wouldn't discuss personal matters in such a busy setting. He didn't have time to visit them anyway. He had to report on the preparations to the Student Activities Board and coordinate with the firefighters assigned by the fire department to ensure safety. He also had the promotions team scattered around the venue to handle any unexpected situations. He was running around like a madman. Whitney was handling all the other miscellaneous tasks. Thankfully, the student union had provided some volunteers, whom Cole just had to keep supplied with fruit and snacks. As time passed, night fell. The audience from each university began to file in. The Eastwood University gym had one great advantage. It was incredibly warm in the winter. No one felt cold sitting inside. In fact, wearing too many layers made it hot. Just before 7, Serena showed her ticket at the entrance and walked in with her roommates. Cole had offered her 2 tickets, but her roommates had begged to come along, so she'd asked for 6 seats in the first 3 rows. The 6 girls walked into the Eastwood section, which happened to be right next to the backstage entrance. Serena and Zoe sat in the 3rd row, with Serena on the aisle. She noticed there was still an empty seat next to her, which she assumed was for a staff member. But it definitely wouldn't be her Cole, because he had to sit behind the judges and university leaders, on standby. At 7 o'clock sharp, the arena quieted down. The hosts entered the stage. It was a man and a woman, both from the broadcasting major and members of the Student Union's Arts and Sports Committee. Good evening, esteemed leaders, faculty, and all you enthusiastic students. Welcome to the Headline Cup Jazz Dance Competition, jointly hosted by the Eastwood University Student Activities Board and our partner universities, and exclusively sponsored by Headline today. The participating schools are: we are honored to have Professor Liu Shumin from Eastwood University, Professor XX from Eastwood Tech, for distinguished judges with us tonight. Headline today, where everyone can be a star. And now, let's have the representatives from each university's dance team come on stage to draw their performance numbers. While the teams nervously drew their numbers on stage, chaos reigned backstage. Whitney, with the best of intentions, said to Jasmine, "Director Young, Luna, you 2 should go sit in the audience. I've got everything covered here. I saved 2 seats for you nearby. Your original seats are too far away. Don't bother going there." Since Cole hadn't given Luna an official title, Whitney just called her by her name. Luna didn't care. Being called by her name was fine. "All right then, we'll leave it to you," Jasmine said. Seeing there were enough hands on deck, she felt at ease. She wanted to see Alex's performance anyway, though she already had a feeling that winning would be tough. She knew the teams from Eastwood and the Teachers College. They were strong, professional. Jasmine led Luna out from backstage, following the seat numbers Whitney had given them. They were in the 3rd row, right on the aisle. As they approached their seats, just before sitting down, Jasmine thought the profile of the girl sitting next to their spot looked vaguely familiar. She didn't think much of it and sat down. Jasmine was in the middle, with Luna to her left and Serena to her right. The guys in the surrounding seats couldn't help but stare. Even just seeing the backs of their heads was breathtaking. One was already stunning. Now there were 3 of them sitting together. It was a bit overwhelming. After a moment, that sense of familiarity returned to Jasmine, and she turned her head to look. At the same time, Serena sensed the gaze and turned as well. Their eyes met. Both froze for a second, a spark of recognition flashing in their eyes as they studied each other. It's Cole's classmate. Jasmine instantly remembered the girl from the hot pot dinner at the Creekside Galleria in Linden Creek. It's Cole's sister. Serena also remembered that night, and the pang of jealousy she'd felt. "Hello, hello." The 2 women offered polite smiles and greeted each other in soft voices almost simultaneously. "So you're at Eastwood too? What's your major?" Jasmine had never asked Cole, so she didn't know. "Law. What about you, sis? Are you at Eastwood too?" Serena, out of affection for Cole, felt a warmth toward Jasmine that replaced her earlier, uninformed jealousy. I'm at Eastwood Tech. Business administration, Jasmine replied, studying the girl's face. It was a face still touched with youthful innocence, but incredibly beautiful and delicate, with a tall, graceful figure. Before she spoke, she was as cool and serene as a goddess. But the moment she smiled, she was like an angel who'd descended to earth, transforming into the girl next door. Her smile was utterly adorable and sweet. Eastwood Tech is so close. I should come visit you when I have time, sis. I'm just a freshman, so there's a lot I don't know, Serena said with a smile, a hint of curiosity in her eyes. Cole's sister was truly beautiful, with a great figure and a wonderful presence. Very much a big sister. Her features didn't much resemble Cole's, but it was normal for cousins not to look alike. She knew Cole was an only child, but he'd never specified if Jasmine was a paternal or maternal cousin. Of course, I come to Eastwood sometimes, too. I can visit you, Jasmine said, deliberately not mentioning the company. She wouldn't bring it up if she wasn't sure the other person knew, lest she seem like she was showing off. But Serena, in her unguarded state, let it slip. To help out at Cole's company? I'm going to work there too, as legal counsel. Oh, is that so? Jasmine's heart skipped a beat, but her expression remained unchanged. All right, you're in law. That's wonderful. A company always needs a legal department. A flurry of thoughts raced through her mind. The company did need legal counsel. That was a fact. But had Cole already chosen someone, and so quickly? A high school classmate, and one who was this beautiful? Did he trust her that much? What was it about her that had won him over? Jasmine thought of Luna. Her personality, her diligent attitude when she worked, plus her simple family background. It made sense that Cole would value her. But this girl in front of her, what were her strengths? It wasn't that Jasmine couldn't accept a beautiful girl as the company's lawyer. It was just an instinctive need to analyze, to understand what it was about her that attracted Cole. Her face, her figure. Jasmine felt a wave of conflict. She couldn't stop her mind from racing with speculation, but her rational side told her she shouldn't be suspicious. Mitchum, I have to study really hard so I could start helping out sooner, Serena said, her earnestness on full display, revealing her personal ambitions. You can do it. Jasmine couldn't help but encourage her, seeing how motivated she was for Cole's company. After a moment, she asked, I don't even know your name. I'm Jasmine Young, and you are? I'm Serena Shun. It's nice to meet you, Jasmine, Serena said, her eyes curving into crescent moons. She felt like she'd finally found her tribe. Anyone and anything connected to Cole made her feel an incredible sense of kinship and security. Nice to meet you, Serena. Jasmine smiled, but the conflict in her heart resurfaced. A spike of anxiety hit her. Did Cole choose her for her looks? But the girl's sincerity was palpable. She seemed to have no hidden motives and was genuinely friendly. That settled her nerves a little. Most importantly, she could tell that Serena was also whole. That meant Cole hadn't made any moves, just like with Luna. Her innate kindness won out. She couldn't bear to be suspicious anymore. She didn't want to make things difficult for Cole. With that decided, Jasmine warmly took Luna's hand. Let me introduce you to Serena. This is Luna and the company's future accountant. She's in the finance department here at Eastwood, also a freshman. Then she turned to the quiet, slightly bewildered Luna. This is Serena Shun from the law school. She's our future legal counsel and was Cole's classmate in high school. In middle school, Serena added with a brilliant smile, raising a hand. Luna quickly smiled and nodded a greeting. Hi, Serena. I'm still learning, so I'm not very professional yet. She hadn't been paying close attention to their conversation, feeling it was rude to eavesdrop. The fact that Cole's choice for a lawyer was a beautiful freshman didn't strike her as odd. When it came to work, she was a total rookie. Whatever Cole said went. Now that she knew they were old classmates, she just assumed he had hired her because they were close. In the past, seeing a girl this beautiful would have made her feel insecure. But things were different now. Cole had given her an immense sense of security. As long as she had Cole, did anything else matter? Not at all. Besides, she had the ultimate confidence, spelled out in the undisguised affection and hunger she saw in his eyes. She wasn't afraid. Hi, Luna. We can learn and grow together. Serena's smile remained as she looked at Luna, but her heart stirred. She's very pretty. When did Cole meet her? And, it seems, like, those are really big. A tiny spark of jealousy ignited in Serena's heart. It wasn't jealousy over Luna knowing Cole, but the natural competitiveness girls feel about size. But she wasn't worried. Serena thought, I have them too, and they're not small, okay? Besides, Cole absolutely loves my He loves them to death. With that thought, the little bit of jealousy vanished. Her smile brightened again as she reached out and took Luna's hand. At that moment, Luna's other hand was still in Jasmine's, making it look for a second like the three of them were all holding hands. Jasmine let go, formally introducing them. The two girls gave a firm shake before releasing their hands. All three turned their attention to the competition. At that moment, Cole, sitting behind the judge's table, was watching the performance intently. Eastwood College of Medicine had the bad luck of drawing the first lot. Their choreography was decent, but they seemed under-rehearsed. Maybe it was the pressure, but they made a few small mistakes. It didn't ruin the performance, though. Out of a perfect 10, they scored an 8.5. Amid polite applause, they left the stage with a hint of disappointment. The second team was from Eastwood Agricultural University. As a top-tier university, despite its name, it had its fair share of beauties. The rhythm was dynamic, the legs were long, the hips were swaying, it was bursting with energy. The key was their short skirts and safety shorts. You couldn't see anything, but that didn't stop the guys in the audience from cheering, their eyes wide. Cole, a man of worldly experience, was unmoved. He had kissed the lips of a top-tier campus belle. He had more than enough resistance to this sort of thing. He just silently scorned the male professors who were trying to look dignified while their eyes were glued to the stage. Bored, Cole let his gaze wander across the opposite stands, searching for his fragrant Jasmine, his creamy Serena, and his fruity little Luna. Where are they? He checked the seating area designated by the tickets he'd given out. They weren't there. His eyes swept past the section near the backstage tunnel, and he froze. His heart hammered. He looked back again, his dread mounting. As he focused, a cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Holy crap, how are they sitting together? That's impossible. I put their seats on opposite sides. He had to give them tickets for the dance competition. It would have been a slight not to, but to avoid this exact scenario, he'd made careful preparations. Jasmine and Luna could sit together. They would never discuss personal matters at a formal event. He'd put them in the headline Today staff section, a good 50 feet away from the Eastwood University section. And Serena and her roommates were supposed to be in the middle of the EU block. Maybe, possibly, someone else took their seats. Just as he was starting to panic, the three girls looked over at him. Their eyes met across the entire stadium. Even from this distance, Cole could feel their collective gaze on him. He saw Serena wave excitedly, while Jasmine and Luna just smiled. Cole steeled himself, waved back, and plastered a warm smile on his face. One wave, 3 targets. They were far apart, so he was safe. For now, he just didn't know if they had talked about other things. He wasn't too worried about Jasmine and Luna, but Serena. Still, Serena wasn't one to broadcast things. Cole realized he had to bet on her being reserved in Jasmine's presence. He made a decision. After the competition, he would find an excuse to stay behind in the gym. He'd leave after they were gone. They would probably leave together. If he showed up too, it would be risky. No, not risky. It would be a guaranteed meltdown. For the rest of the competition, he couldn't focus. He had to constantly meet the gazes of his 3 little darlings and return them with a timely smile. In the stands by the tunnel, Jasmine keenly sensed that the girls on either side of her were frequently looking at Cole. She had no proof. Their gazes had to cross the stage to get to him, so they could just be watching the competition. But a woman's intuition told her they were both looking at her Cole. Serena, on her right, was the most obvious. When she watched the performance, her expression was cool and aloof, but then she would suddenly break into a radiant smile. The problem was, there was nothing funny happening on stage. Jasmine didn't turn her head to observe, relying entirely on her peripheral vision and intuition. When Serena smiled, her line of sight seemed to bypass the stage and focus on a specific point on the other side. And Luna, on her left, was the same. She was expressionless while watching the stage, and then suddenly, she'd be smiling faintly. What is going on? Jasmine followed their line of sight and could only see Cole, who was also smiling. But his smile seemed to be directed at her. The moment she saw it, her brain went fuzzy. All other thoughts were pushed aside, her heart filled to the brim with that idiot. The boy who was still half a child in her eyes was now capable of managing such a huge event. The sense of satisfaction was overwhelming. When Cole's gaze shifted, she snapped back to reality, her suspicions about the girls on either side returning. A moment later, she couldn't resist looking for her Cole again. It was a vicious cycle. Serena had no other thoughts in her head. Wherever Cole was, she felt comfortable and relaxed. And Luna was even simpler. She had no feelings for jazz dance. If this wasn't Cole's event, she wouldn't have even come. Being so far away from him was unsettling. If Jasmine hadn't been right next to her, she would have already walked over to him. There was one other person with complicated feelings, Zoe, sitting next to Serena. Ever since she found out that Cole was not only the owner of the Tea Alchemist, but also the owner of Headline Today, her perspective had shifted. At first, she felt indignant on her roommate's behalf, not wanting Serena to be with Cole. He was handsome, sure, but he didn't seem outstanding in other ways. With Serena's background and beauty, she deserved a more powerful boyfriend, which would make it easier for Zoe to ride her coattails. But now, things were different. Zoe even felt a pang of regret, cursing her own shallow judgment. Someone with Serena's advantages would have no trouble finding an equal match. But she was from an ordinary family. If only she had met Cole first. Sigh, it just wasn't in the cards. The stage was a whirlwind of dancing and loud music. The students were engrossed. After a full 2 hours, the competition finally reached its end. As the last team finished their performance, the stadium lights came up. The hosts returned to the stage. Headline Today, where everyone can be a star. The results of this competition are in. The highest score goes to the Dreamy Dolls from Eastwood University, with a score of 9.6. As Cole had expected, Eastwood University took the championship. Alex's team came in second. Third place went to the Lavender Girls from Eastwood Teachers College. After announcing the results, the female host smiled and said, "And now, let's welcome the founder and chairman of our exclusive sponsor, Headline Today, a freshman from the Eastwood University Finance Department, Mr. Cole Chun, to the stage to present the awards." The announcement sent a ripple of commotion through the crowd. Murmurs and whispers filled the air. Even though the voices were low, the sheer volume created a significant buzz. Almost everyone knew about Headline Today, but very few knew who the owner was. Most had imagined a bald, middle-aged man or some young, slick-suited entrepreneur. They never expected it to be a freshman from their own university. It was a bit of shock. The most excited people in the stadium were, of course, Cole's three little darlings. They were bursting with pride, waiting with a mix of nervousness and excitement for him to take the stage. The leaders and professors from Eastwood exchanged discreetly proud smiles and nods with their counterparts from other universities. That's right. The owner of Headline Today is one of our students. Under the expectant gaze of the entire audience, Cole straightened his collar, stood up, and strode confidently toward the stage. The gymnasium fell utterly silent. All eyes were fixed on the young man who had just stood up. It was as if thousands of X-rays were scanning Cole from head to toe. He was tall and quite handsome, though his clothes were unremarkable. This was the owner of Headline Today. The upperclassman watched with a complex mix of envy and jealousy, tinged with a deep sigh of introspection. What was I doing my freshman year? The upperclasswoman, without exception, had eyes that glittered like gold. The figure striding toward the center of the stage wasn't a person. He was a walking pile of money, a golden road to a better life. I wonder if there are any other cars on that road? If so, could he handle one more? My waist is very slim. The 10 seconds it took Cole to reach the host felt like a lifetime to the audience, a whirlwind of thoughts and reevaluations. Amy, serving as the award presenter, wore a perfectly appropriate makeup look and a smile of moderate admiration as she brought out the champion's trophy. Two members of the promotions team followed, carrying a large plaque representing the $500 cash prize. Cole offered a reserved smile, accepting the trophy with both hands and presenting it to the captain of the Eastwood dance team. He then took the cash prize plaque and handed it to the other team members. He went down the line, shaking hands. They're all quite smooth. Huh, what's with the palm scratching? Do I look like that kind of guy? Cole kept a straight face, not looking at the bold young woman. Next came the group photo with the dance team. Click, click. Applause thundered as the jubilant dance team left the stage with their awards. The female host stopped Cole as he was about to leave. "Please stay for a moment, Cole. I'm sure everyone would love to hear a few words from you. Right, everyone?" she called out to the audience. Cole had been planning this. He smoothly paused, an expression of, "Well, I suppose I can, but I'd feel a bit awkward on his face. So, should I call you Mr. Chun or Cole?" The junior host teased, her eyes shining brightly. As the star host of the Arts and Sports Committee, her looks were top-notch, her presence easily scoring a 9 out of 10. The male host's looks, well, never mind. He just smiled, as if he hadn't noticed his partner's subtle fawning. He was used to it. Cole bowed slightly, took the microphone with both hands, and immediately turned to bow to the leadership and judges. He then bowed to the audience on all four sides, earning a massive wave of goodwill. Only then did he answer the host's question, his tone half joking, half serious. "Thank you, ma'am. Just Cole is fine. The title Mr. has a certain finality to it. I prefer a saying from Taoist philosophy. The one gives birth to two, the two gives birth to three, and the 3 gives birth to all things. So, it sounds like you don't like 1. You prefer 3? The host expertly followed up, opening the door for a deeper conversation. She was deeply impressed by his decision to bow before speaking. This kid has a future. That's right, Cole said, looking at the host before turning his gaze to the audience, his expression humble. I think the number 3 holds a lot of wisdom. It's positive and represents an open mind. Oh, could you explain that for us? She pressed. You can see it in our everyday expressions. For example, 3rd times the charm, which is very positive, a symbol of good luck. Or how about good things come in 3s? Then there's the idea of a 3-legged stool, representing stability and a solid foundation. You can also think of the 3 pillars of success: knowledge, ability, and character. That's my simple understanding of the number 3. I hope I haven't embarrassed myself. After speaking, Cole gave another slight bow. The leadership section was the first to applaud, followed by a thunderous ovation from the entire stadium. Cole wore an expression of sincere humility, bowing to all sides, embodying modesty. The male host was also applauding, but a flicker of contempt hid in his eyes. Why don't you talk about being 2-faced or 3-timing? But despite his disdain, his applause was louder than anyone's. I think I understand now why you were able to create headline today, the female host said, lavishing him with praise. She smoothly transitioned the topic to his company, and Cole immediately took the cue. The core of headline today is to be open, inclusive, and to encourage innovation, giving everyone the chance to become a well-known star. It doesn't matter what year you're in or what your major is. You can showcase your talents and let more people know who you are. Some bring joy, some share their travel experiences, some create music for others to enjoy. It's a place where everyone can shine, find like-minded friends, and build something together. Thank you. Clap, 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 clap. The applause roared again. In the Eastwood Tech section, Ethan Sue sneered, not bothering to clap. He leaned over to his roommate. He's getting way too arrogant. Anyone could do this with enough money. His sister must have funded it. If someone gave me that money, I could do it too. Yeah, but his sister had to be willing to give it to him. His roommate replied non-committally, still clapping. This world is so unfair. Ethan sighed, his face a mask of resentment. Talented people get no support and are stuck, while the untalented get everything without even trying. His roommate glanced at him, then turned back to the stage without a word. The female host saw that time was running short and expertly took back the microphone. Thank you for your words, Cole, and thank you to Headline Today for supporting this competition. Cole quickly bowed again, returned a microphone to the male host, and walked back to his seat. There was still a concluding speech from a university leader. Not important. When Cole returned to his seat, he was surprised to find his male seatmate gone, replaced by a familiar face. Holly, the junior journalism student with the impressive chest who had interviewed him at the tea shop. What did she get here? As he sat down, Holly gave him a sultry smile and leaned in close. Your performance just now was amazing, freshman, she whispered. It was okay, just okay. When did you get here, Holly? Cole felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. 3 daggers of jealousy were being shot at him from across the stadium, piercing him with phantom pains. I've been here for a while, helping out. You should really be thanking me, your humble volunteer, Holly said, her eyes fixed on Cole, a strange fire flickering in their depths. Oh, well, I should definitely thank you then, Cole forced a laugh. Please go away, Holly, he pleaded internally. I can't handle this right now. I have 3 she-devils waiting for me. So how are you going to thank me? Buy me dinner. Holly's face was very close. The black cashmere sweater under her coat was stretched taut. She seemed to be wearing perfume, a faint scent that tickled Cole's nose and made him want to sneeze. How about I buy you a coffee? Just stop by the Tea Alchemist sometime, it's on me. I'll let them know. Oh, is that all? A flicker of disappointment crossed Holly's face, but she was one to press her advantage. Her smile became even more bewitching as she purred. Buy me a late-night snack, then. You invite, I'll pay. A glint of cunning flashed in Holly's eyes. I'll put it like that. How can you refuse now? I refuse to believe I can't satisfy you with one late-night snack. Cole did feel a bit awkward refusing. The upper-class woman before him had a seductive, mature vibe. Looking at her, she could have passed for a young married woman. What was that saying? When you're young, you don't appreciate. Mr. Chun, I have something to report. A head wedged itself between Holly and Cole. Huh, Yvonne, what is it? Cole tactically leaned back. His manager, Yvonne Wong, had her face way too close. She was also wearing makeup and smelled fragrant. Yvonne's looks were on par with Holly's, though she was a bit taller. The former was all long legs and a slim waist. The latter was all ample bosom. But Cole was in no mood to appreciate either. The three daggers aimed at him from across the stadium had practically materialized. He didn't dare look over. It's about the next promotional campaign. It's urgent, Yvonne said, turning to Holly with a slightly apologetic look. I'm sorry, but I have something important to discuss with my boss. Could I possibly trade seats with you? She pointed to an empty seat not far away, where 3 of the promotion's team members had been assigned. Fine, Holly said, clearly annoyed, but she had to give in. They were still in a public venue. She stood up, and as she passed over Yvonne's head, she shot a quick, flirtatious wink at Cole. Mr. Chun, remember what I said. Late night snack. I'll remember. Cole nodded with a strained smile. Just remember, he thought, not agree. It was best to skip that snack. If he was hungry, he could just find his fruity little Luna. She had more than enough to go around. As Holly swayed away, Yvonne quickly sat down. Hey, Mr. Chun, I just saved you. How are you going to thank me? What's with the formality? There's no need for thank yous between us, Cole said, knowing full well what his manager was after. All right then, I'll go ask that young lady to come back, Yvonne said, making a move to stand up. Fine, I'll thank you. Cole quickly stopped her, sighing internally. These employees are getting harder to manage. So slippery. Hey, what are you thinking? I really do have something to report. But it's not urgent. We can talk tomorrow. I just came over specifically to rescue you, Yvonne said, her tone a mix of complaint and flirtatious charm that was surprisingly alluring. She had no intention of actually blackmailing her boss. That would be counterproductive. She wanted to earn a favor while also gaining more of his trust. She needed to solidify her position at headline today. Smart girl. Cole complimented her with a nod. Since Yvonne had sat down, the thorn in his side had noticeably lessened. On stage, the university leader was still droning on. In the stands by the tunnel, Jasmine's face was frosted over with ice. Her gaze shot across the space, locking onto the curvy girl. How dare you make a move on my Cole? Do you believe I could publicly humiliate you right here, right now? Serena's cheeks were puffed out, her eyes filled with displeasure. If there weren't so many people, she would have already marched over there. Who is that? She's so obviously flirting with Cole. Shameless. Luna's expression was calm, but in reality, she was so angry her chest was heaving. She remembered that slightly heavier upper-class woman. She was big too, but not as big as herself. She'd come to the shop looking for Cole before. Thankfully, Cole hadn't looked at her. The 3 women had different thoughts, but a shared target. They all recognized Yvonne. Jasmine had seen her many times, Serena had seen her on Catbird Lane,